morning, Biffsters. Hello, here we are already on day 5. Can't believe it. So we've gone from Italy. If you make your way up through Austria, you come to a country called the Czech Republic. And the capital of the Czech Republic is a beautiful city called Prague. Maybe you can find all the capital cities of the countries that we've been to so far. Well, the reason I picked the Czech Republic is because I've been working for many years with Billingham Festival, and in 2002 I had a group from the Czech Republic, and actually I've still got the t-shirt. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. It was this group, and they have a festival of their own, and it's a bagpipe festival. Every group that goes there plays the bagpipes. It's amazing. So I go to that every 2 years, and I thought I'd wear my bagpipe t-shirt today to read the story. Now, this is the flag that Sloppy's holding, and the story is a funny name. It's called Nail Soup. So sit comfortably, and here we go. Long ago, a cold, tired and hungry man trudged down a dusty country road. He shivered as the wind blew through the tatters in his coat. Pushing his hands deep into his pockets, he carefully searched them for a coin, but all he could find was a big rusty nail. When he reached a village, he knocked on the door of the first house that he came to, but no one answered. He knocked again, louder this time, and at last he heard the sound of a key in the lock and some bolts being drawn back. The door opened a few inches and a mean old woman peered out. "Good evening, madam," said the man. "I wonder if you could spare a cold, hungry man a bite to eat." The old woman opened the door a little bit wider. "Well, I've no food in the house," she croaked, "but you can come in for a few minutes and warm yourself up." Soon the man was sitting by a roaring fire with the old woman sitting opposite him, and she said nothing. After a while, the man took the big rusty nail from his pocket, wiped it on his sleeve, and tossed it from hand to hand. When he was quite sure that the old woman was watching, he said, "Yesterday I had the best soup that I have ever eaten, and it was made just from this old nail." "What a load of nonsense! You can't make soup with a nail," cackled the old woman. "If you had such a thing as a big pot of water, I could prove it to you," answered the man. So grumbling, the old woman fetched a big pot and then she put it on the stove. And when the water was boiling, the man dropped in the nail. After waiting for 10 minutes, he picked up the spoon and he tasted the water. It's delicious," he said. "But I think it could do with just a little bit of pepper and salt if you have it." When the old woman opened the cupboard to get the pepper and salt, the man could see that the shelves were actually stacked with food. He shook the pepper and salt into the pot and tasted the water again. He said, "I think it could just do with an onion and then it would be perfect." The old woman hurried away, peeled and chopped a big onion and dropped it into the pot. The man stirred the boiling water and tasted it again. He said thoughtfully, "but maybe it needs a carrot or two and a little bit of meat if you have it." The old woman hurried away again and came back with carrots and a piece of meat. The man stirred them into the pot. "Of course, potatoes go very well in this soup," he said. And so the old woman brought some potatoes, peeled, cut into chunks, and the man dropped them in and he sat down by the fire. "Not long now," he said. "Oh, and doesn't it smell good?" After half an hour, he tasted the soup again, and he said, "Oh, that's perfect now. I hope, madam, you will join me in eating this soup." Almost smiling, the old woman laid the table with a cloth and her best china, and the man poured the soup into 2 big bowls and sat down at the table with the old woman. He dipped his spoon into the soup and then he stopped. "You've been so kind," "I wish I had some wine so that you could drink it with this soup," he said. "Well, I think I might have a bottle of it somewhere," said the old woman, and soon she came back with wine and 2 glasses. And while the man and the old woman ate the soup and drank the wine, they started to talk and talk. The old woman brought out a crusty loaf of bread, some cheese, fruit, and a big cake. And they told each other stories, they laughed a lot, and they actually had a really merry evening. The old woman couldn't remember when she'd enjoyed herself so much. So when they'd eaten all they could and were growing sleepy, the old woman said, "Well, it's getting late. I'll make up a bed in the spare room for you. You'll be warm and comfortable in there." The man thanked her, and when she was out of the room, he scooped up the nail from the bottom of the soup pot, wiped it clean and dropped it back into his pocket. The next morning, the man thanked the old woman again. "I'd never have believed you could make such good soup with just an old nail," she said. And the man just smiled and murmured, "It's what you add to it that makes all the difference." And then he patted his pocket to make sure that the nail was there. "I may need that again tonight," he said quietly to himself as he walked away down the road. See you tomorrow.